Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Thank you so much once again for joining me for tea time. I really appreciate you being here. Today we have a little bit of Misty Morning and Focus combination. So you have that little bit of zing and the bergamot that I absolutely love. So, as I always say, if you want to pick up any of my teas, go over to darkmoonteas.com or head over to my website, JCristina.com. And don't forget, if you're a subscriber, use promo code YT20 at checkout. Once again, YT20 at checkout, and you'll get 20% off anything that you purchase from me in my store. Anyways, enough of the shameless plug for this morning. Today is going to be an interesting one. As you can see, we have an Andycine monitor back there, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. The guys over there sent me over a monitor to check out. Now, just full disclosure, I am not getting paid for a review or anything like this. I wanted to talk to you guys about this because it is one of the devices that I use on a regular basis. Now, especially when I'm out of studio, they just work out really well in the sunlight to be able to see what you're doing and know what you're capturing. Even though the majority of my cameras, like this Canon here, has a fully articulated back panel, the back panel is like 3 inches. And while that's okay for doing just basic, what you see kind of is what you're going to get on the back, it's hard to really get detailed in there and see if you got your colors right. If you zoom in to go take a look at your focus, is your focus right? 3 inches is not a lot of screen real estate to do it and to do it properly. So to have a monitor is always good. Now, for a long time, I've been using this one. All right, now I'm not going to talk to you guys about this one, but I'm just showing it to you. This is a 5.5 inch from the Andycine people, 4K also, but it's a little bit different than the one that I'm going to show you now. All right, so the one that they sent over to me to check out, that's the one that I've always been using, was larger. It is 7 inch. Now this thing is kind of beastly. It is a big monitor, a big display, and it's extremely bright, all the way up, as you can see, 2,200 nits. So it is bright. In the sunlight, you can see it, and you can see it at any angle pretty much. It is a really good screen. But there's differences between the two, and there's things that I like about this, and there's things that I like about the other one. I want to get into it a little bit. I want to tell you about this one. So many of you guys, I'm sure, have thought about, but they're not expensive either considering all of the value you get out of it. There's a lot of value being able to see what you're doing on the back in comparison, or even in the front, or even having some of your models or maybe your client or whoever is going to be in front of the camera to be able to see themselves to the side. There's something really powerful about that, just to know what you're getting. So I want to get into this. I want to give you the specs first, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this. This is what it looks like. It is a really nice little beast of a monitor. What I really like about this, before I even turn it on, is this is an aluminum, like an alloy body. So it is metal, it's not plastic, and you can feel it. It's got some girth, it's got some weight to it. I really like that a lot. Also, I do like that it does have these 1/4-20s all the way around on 3 sides. So you can put it on any angle that you want. You can set it to the left side, you can plug it in to the right side, or from the bottom if you want to do it on top, however you want to do it. So it works out great. The only place that you don't have this 1/4-20 is, of course, on the top. Now on the top is where you're going to find all of your buttons. So let me start out by saying, as you can see on the back here, we have a battery. Now this battery pack on the back, I believe it's an F970, I believe. But there's different plates. This plate back here, you can remove it and put on another plate. And if you do, you'll be able to use like an LP E6 battery. You can use a D28S or a D54. And of course, you can also use one of the U60s on the back, which is really great. Some of you guys have different batteries that you're already using, some mega batteries that you're using. Well, you can use them all on here just by simply changing out this plate. That is really, really quite awesome. Well, one of the other things that really kind of just help a lot is that this does have that aluminum body to it. And we talk about this all the time when it comes to cameras. These type of electronics produce a ton of heat, all right? They get hot. Well, when you have a plastic body, the dissipation of the heat is very difficult. That's why a lot of the cameras go with an aluminum alloy body, because they dissipate heat well, and that's exactly what goes on with this. The heat dissipation is awesome. Does it get warm? Yeah, it does. This battery will let it run for about 40 to 50 minutes, which most of the time you're only going to be capturing little bursts anyways, or if you're going to do something extended, most of the time you're only going to be able to record to about 29 minutes anyways, call it 30 minutes. So this battery is going to be enough for that, and I would suggest bringing multiple along with you if you're going to do it. The other thing that you can do is grab their, let me show you here. This is one of the things that comes inside of the box. It is a power cable, so you can power this monitor with the power from your camera. And if you have your camera plugged in at the same time, now all of a sudden you're powering your camera and you're powering the display, and you never have to worry about it anymore. Very, very cool. Also, of course, it comes with a little HDMI cable with a little mini on one side and a full HDMI on the other, which is good. And then finally you have a manual. So there's not a lot in the box itself, but what you need is pretty much what you're going to get. Now you can order a power cable for it, so you can plug in. As you can see at the bottom here, we have DC out, that's 8 volts. That's, of course, that'll go over to your camera or whatever you need it to go to, and you have a DC in, which would be 12 volts if you want to power this from DC, which you can. I always suggest using batteries, even if you're in studio, because later on when you go out of studio, you already have them with you. They're already charged, you use them all the time, they're already cycled through, and you know what you're going to get out of them, in comparison to going on location and later on being like, do I have enough battery? Yes, no, I don't know. I like using batteries even in studio. Yes, it's always nice to use power. You don't have to think about it anymore. But I don't mind thinking a little bit, guys. I don't mind thinking. Anyways, the unit is quite good. I'm going to go through a couple of the specs here with you that I find that are interesting, that I like, and then I want to tell you some of the things that I like about the other unit better than this one, and what I like about this one compared to the other one. And then you make the decision what you need for your specific use case. All right, so let me start out by the menu system itself is very intuitive, and as you can see, you have buttons at the top. This will be for your menu system, going up and down and making your selections and your changes. Now those changes that you can make include brightness histogram, which is very important. You have embedded audio. Speaking about audio, this unit does have a speaker in the back so that you can get audio coming out of this. Now, is it good audio? No, but it's just basic audio, so you know if you are at least close to levels or if there's any distortion or whatnot. Now, if you want to actually hear the audio properly, you have your 3.5 at the bottom that you'd plug in your headset for. So audio is all the way around on here good. You can get it either which way, like I said, externally or internally, and then throw on a headset, which is what I would recommend. It also has focus peaking in either red, green, or blue, which is great. It's completely up to you, whichever one you use. It has false colors. It has zebra exposure. I love zebra exposure. If you guys don't know what it is, zebraing is just awesome when it comes to exposure, because when you look on the monitor and you look at the subject, wherever you have those zebra lines, that area is blown out. All right, that means that there's no data left because it's too bright. So you can dial that back, dial your exposure back, and when those zebra lines are gone, you are good. All right, so I do like zebra exposure. Some people don't. Some people like it more on a color base, so you can see like a color spectrometer type thing where you can see all the way white is hot and all the way down in dark blue is cool, and then you get it somewhere in the middle ground. You know what's going to be plugged on the dark side, what's going to be blown out in the highlights on the high side, and then you could meander around to get it to exactly the way you want it, however you like it. I like zebras. It's up to you. Now, it also has your check field, your your red, green, blue, and mono. You have scan modes, which is underscan or overscan, so that you can get it exactly right, that screen size. You also have anamorphic mode, which is 1.3 times, 2.0 times, and you have 2.0 magnify, and it is user definable. So you can go from 1.2 all the way up to 2.0 and everything in between. Now, it also has the ability to take your image and flip it horizontally or vertically or both, which is nice, mirroring basically. It also has a freeze frame. So that is really nice if you want to take a single picture of exactly what's on the screen and be able to save it later on if you want to use it, let's say, for a thumbnail or whatnot. Image freezing is really great to be able to capture those images. Also, you have screen markers. Screen markers is great because they give you 80%, 85%, 90, 93, 96, and finally 2.35 to 1 ratio. This is good for getting in or dialing in the size, what is going to be captured or where you want it to be. So let's say if you have a TV, let's say you're going live for a TV program and they tell you we need an 80% margin all the way around. Well, you set it for 80% and you can see the 80% ring, and you know anything past that 80% marker is probably not going to be showed on the TV advertisement spot, let's say. So getting that information is very useful. Also, ratio you can set up, your ratio markers. So you can do 4.3, 13 to 9, 14 to 9, 15 to 9, 16 by 9, and of course you have 1.85 to 1 and 2.35 to 1. So that's also great. So you can see what you're going to be capturing. Even though this is a large, wide screen, being able to dial those in and actually see those markers, that is really, really powerful, really great. Also, you can dial in your color temperature. Those color temperature adjustments is fantastic with this because you can get your color right in camera. So in post-production, you have less, hopefully none, but you have less when it comes to color grading. So you can dial in your Kelvin exactly how you want it while looking through this monitor. That is really, really great. Also, you have a zoom ratio of either 4 times, 9 times, or 16 times. So if you're doing macro photography, for example, if you are trying to get that focus dead on, forget about autofocus, you want to go manual focus, right? Well, if you stick this to a 9 times zoom, you're going to be in there tight. I mean, really tight. Then you could just modify your focus just a little bit to get it exactly where you want it before you start recording or take that single freeze image, whatever you want to do. It's really powerful to be able to get in there. Once again, 4 times, you have 9 times, as well as 16 times zoom internal to this monitor. That is great. Also, you have your aspect ratio that you can adjust pixel to pixel and a bunch of other things, but those are the main things that I really want to highlight here. Now, the screen itself is something that a lot of people ask me, well, does it do 4K? Is it a 4K screen? Well, this one is not a 4K screen. It's 1080p, but it receives a 4K signal. So when you do those zooms, you're getting a ton of data. All right, but the actual screen is only 1080p, but that's okay. The 1080p will be able to record, or you'll be able to see 60 frames per second. Now, when I say record, what is really interesting with this is not only do you have your HDMI in, but you have a clean HDMI feed out. Now, that is really awesome because now you could be monitoring, but then also taking that out and sending it over to a recorder. So you could be monitoring here, recording over there, and recording at the same time on the camera. Powerful. Very, very powerful. I like that. It is really, really great. Also on the side here, I want to point out, you see a USB connection here. That USB connection is so you can do updates to the firmware in here. That's it. That is what USB is for on this unit, which is good. I like them having the ability to very easily update the firmware in this so that if things change, you can make those modifications. Really, really powerful. Now, once again, 4K is a possibility with this, but remember, the screen is only going to be 1080p, but it will push that 4K signal out, which is UHD, which is your 3840 by 2160 feed at 30 frames per second or 29.97, whatever. But if you're doing 1080p, it will push 60 frames per second. That's really good if you're like me and you record 60 frames per second like I do. I personally like 60 frames per second. Some people do, some people don't. I personally do. Now, the unit itself, like I said, there's not a lot to it. And when you go into the menu system, you have a lot of possibilities of changing things in here to get them exactly the way you want them. And then at the top, you have an F1, F2, and F3. You can change those to whatever you want to set them to. So it gives you a means of dialing this in to what you want. So let's say you want zebra mode, let's say, for one of these buttons. You can click on that and it'll pop over to zebra. Or if you want something else, whatever you want to do, or maybe it's a zoom. So let's say you're doing a 16 zoom all the time because you're doing a lot of macro work. Well, that's all you would do is set one of these up to your zoom and then zoom in just by clicking it instead of having to play around in the menus or whatnot. Let me go ahead and turn this on so you can see how bright this unit is. Here we go. Let me see if it pops in. There you go. You see how bright that is? Let me get in a little bit closer. I mean, this is really, really bright. It's kind of hard to see on the camera. I can tell here on this monitor. But anyways, as you can see here, it says no signal. So I have currently this 80D running. Now, the feed of this 80D is normally going into a video recorder. Currently, it's going into my computer, and I'm using it to record on OBS. Now, I don't have to do that. I can do multiple things, but bear in mind, right now I'm recording with this 80D. I'm seeing myself in the little 3-inch monitor here. Let's put it into the HDMI in. Obviously, it's not going to be HDMI out, and watch what happens. There you go. Now, what just happened is when I look at the 80D, the monitor on that 80D, that fully articulating panel, no longer is active. It's off. Why? Because the camera is now sending the signal here. And as you can see, we can see the focus here, how it's dialing in onto my eyes, and you can see it going in and out, right here into my face. And this is what the scene is going to look like. So if I put this up and I hang this up, let's say out here, I am now able to see myself in massive 7-inch glory. I really don't need to see myself that big. I kind of do. But anyways, we can go in here and see what we're recording at, how much battery life we have. All the settings on the camera is in here. And I'm recording here, and I'm recording there, and over there, and everywhere else. And also, like I said, is we have this HDMI clean feed out at the bottom. I can now send this also somewhere else. So we can do multiple recordings simultaneously. Or a recording, and maybe a secondary recording, and then maybe a big 4K TV feed so that we can see what's going on, and our talent can watch what we're doing at the same time as they're actually recording. That is powerful, guys. I can't tell you how powerful that is, but it is very powerful. Sometimes talent just want to look over and say, hey, do I look good? Is this off? Am I coming across right? Am I too high, too low? What can I do differently? And they look at themselves a lot. It works out really, really good. Anyways, as you can see, this is the color. We can dial in this color however we want to. We can change anything in here that we need to. Basics. Basics. Now, let me go ahead and put this down. And what I want to do is I want to tell you the difference between this unit. All right, I'm going to turn that off. This unit and the one that I'm using on a regular basis here. Now, this is also an Andycine 4K, so it's very similar, but it's 5.5 inches in comparison to this 4K beast, which is 7 inches. Now, the difference between the two is this allows me, number one, to install LUTs. So I can get that color dialed in exactly how I want to through a LUT, then load the LUT onto the camera, and now exactly what I see is going to be what I get in post-production. Now remember, it doesn't matter at that time what the camera is getting or what it's showing. Remember, whatever LUT I'm going to use in my software, let's say I'm using DaVinci, that LUT that I'm using will be the same LUT that I put into here, and then what I see on this monitor is exactly what it's going to look like after the fact in post-production. That is very, very powerful. Very powerful. Because now exactly what I see is what I get. Once again, WYSIWYG. The other thing that's cool is these LUTs can be loaded in through that USB along with that firmware update, which is really nice, very, very nice. But what is really powerful with this one that I do like a lot is that it is a fully touch panel. So I can just simply touch wherever I want to on it, and I don't have to use the buttons that are along the top. For me, I like that a lot. Just to be able to reach over and click a couple of buttons really fast in comparison to playing or seeing where it is at the top is really good for me, especially in dark situations. Now, you guys know that I do a lot of events. I do these big galas, and a lot of times it is dark. It is very dark. So being able to control this from a mega 2,200 LUTs all the way down to 100, 200, where it's really dim, is very important for me because the people around me don't want this beaming bright light also, all right? So being able to program this or dial it in perfectly is very important. So like I said, this is really great for a basic setup. It is going to be bigger, it's going to be larger than this 4K. They are both 4K, they both have the external feeds. I use them identically, but with this one you're going to get your touch panel and you're going to get a little bit smaller of a viewing range, obviously 5.5 inch compared to 7 inch. And you have your LUTs and a couple of other things that I like on this. Now, I personally think that for the price that I see retail on this right now is $269. That is just a cheap price to pay to be able to see what's going on or to show like this your talent, what is going on, or run a long HDMI cable over to the talent next to them and literally put this on a stand, and they could just look over real quick, see how everything is going, what they look like, right? And then turn back. This happens a lot. Sometimes we'll do women and they want to just check their hair, check how everything is, and they'll look into the monitor, they'll check everything out. It's like a mirror, but at 4K. And once again, you can set it for zoom. So you have 4x zoom, 9x zoom, 16x zoom. All right. So if you want to use that as like a monitor, which I've done in the past for people who can use it as like a mirror, I'll set it to like 9x and they can literally zoom in on their face and see exactly how everything is going. Also, this is really powerful when you have an MUA on board. The MUA, of course, is your cosmetologist, your licensed cosmetologist person that does hair and makeup, and they're the ones that are fixing their face, fixing their hair, fixing everything up. A lot of times I will put this or provide this over to the MUA. It will literally sit next to them off camera, and they'll be able to look at the talent and say, wait, stop, I want to fix something. And they'll come in there and they'll fix whatever, and then the talent will start going again. Because it is horrible, absolutely horrible, when you see someone that does just a bang-up job at delivering a line, but then they have a single hair like hanging in their eye or something, or their makeup is slightly running, or something like that. So having this over for an MUA to look at all the time is really powerful. Also a DP, a director of photography, they could be looking at this at the same time, or one of those big 4K TVs is a possibility too, along with this. So however you want to do it, they are very powerful. Now, the reason I like the Andycine product is because it is a quality product. It's made out of aluminum, made out of metal, and I've never had problems with them. Now, are there more expensive units out there? Yes, there are. A lot more expensive. This is more of the lower cost, I would say middle ground cost, but they do a really good job. And they do have like a 12-month warranty with it, so if something goes wrong, they'll be able to either fix it or send you out a new one. So they're really good about that. Now, like I said, I personally do not have any type of arrangement with these people. I do not get any money. I don't get anything if you go and buy one of these. What I might do is put a link in the description that will send you over to one of my links. So if you go and buy it, you'll support the channel for 22 cents or something like that. But I might not even do that. So just so you understand, I did not pay for this unit. I did pay for the others, but I didn't pay for this one. It was more for me to check out and review and let you know my thoughts. And that's where I wanted to not only review this, but also give you a little bit of a comparison between that one and this one. Something that you might want to look at if you want to get something that is a touchscreen And if you want to be able to do LUTs, and there's some scoping that you can do in here that you can't do with this. Scopes are important for me, but there's a couple of other things that are in there. You pay more, but there are a few more niceties in there that you might want to check out. So anyways, I want to, number one, thank Andycine for sending this out so that we can take a look at it and do a little quick review on it. Also, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded my ebook, go over to JCristina.com/ebook. Once again, JCristina.com/ebook. 10 tips at making tack-sharp images. There's something there for amateurs, for pro-ams, for professionals. There's something in there for absolutely everyone. Go check it out. Once again, JCristina.com/ebook. Also, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. This way you'll get more as I come out with new videos. I'm coming out with many videos every single week, so there's a lot of content. If you want to go back in the archives, you'll see probably about 300 plus videos that I've created in the last year and a half. Also, if you enjoyed this content, please give it a thumbs up. That thumbs up is so helpful so that the YouTube gods look kindly upon the channel, look kindly upon the video, and say, hey guys, maybe you should watch this video too, and recommend it. That would be absolutely awesome. So take a second, throw it a thumbs up. That would be absolutely stellar. And also, don't forget to comment below this video. Let me know if you're using one of these monitors, if you're just using the back panel of your camera, like here with this 80D, that fully articulating back panel, or do you like using these monitors, and why? What do you use them for? Do you use them for amateur stuff, pro-am, or do you use them professionally? All right, I would like to hear what your thoughts are. Also, have you ever used these Andycine products before? And if you have, what has been your experience? I want to hear from you. And finally, if you are subscribed, click on this little bell notification. It's like somewhere right around here. If you click on that, anytime I come out with a new video or if I go live, you will be notified of it immediately. All right, so check that bell icon, check it, click it, bang it, whatever, but click it so that you'll be notified immediately. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe and stay healthy. Take care, guys.